If you don't know, by the way, welcome to the Art of Living Show. I'm your host, Dave, my man, Ben. And this is actually dope for me because you was actually the first person on the podcast. So to be back again, to do it again, more information, different stuff. So much has happened since then, both for you and me. If you didn't know what we're talking about, like Final Cut. So now I edit for Ben, who has his new YouTube channel, The Art of Doing, which I think is doing his thing out there. And I feel like we both grown from that podcast, and it's a dope thing. It's a dope thing to see. I like it.
Thanks for having me back. I was honored then. I'm honored now to have been the first, and it's good to see you. Glad to be back, and we have grown. That seemed like years ago in our infancy in this media thing. So we've come quite a way.
Definitely dope. So I thought about you the other day because I was actually thinking about my wedding and how dope it was. It was like a wedding, but it was also this, I don't know, a get together collectively of my favorite people. So it wasn't the whole sit down, stand up, this long procession. It just was just the way I wanted it to be. But the memories that came from it, like seeing you dance with Cheyenne, or like my mom just being so proud, and it was just like a surreal moment, not for just the ceremony, just the feeling, like just being in a room like, damn, this is love. With Corona, do we get that anymore? Like, is it?
Well, not right around.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, I was like, damn, like, B would not be in that wedding right now. Because there's weddings that people have masks on.
Right.
You know what I mean? And they just keep it moving that way. And it's a different day and time. Even Chappelle had a stand-up on Netflix. And it was, I think, one of the best I've seen, I guess, at social distancing. Says he had, if it's you and your wife and me and my wife, we're 6 feet apart, but there's just 2 chairs. And then there's like Dave Chappelle masks that you got to put on. And of course,
nice.
you put your phone in the Ziploc, but
sure.
It was different, man. It was surreal.
There's so many surreal things happening right now. I was talking the other day, actually, to a doctor friend of mine, and I said, not even 6-8 months ago, if I was walking down the street and I saw somebody with a surgical mask on, I'd be really thinking about crossing the street or holding my breath when I'm walking by them. Now, when I walk down the street, if I see somebody without a surgical mask on, I'm thinking of crossing the street to get away from them or holding my breath when I walk by them. It's a whole different time, man. I can't wait to go back to those good old days where I'm scared of somebody in a mask.
I mean, I remember being on the train, and I would see a little Asian lady with the mask on. I'm like, I felt a little bit offended. I'm like, we're all breathing the same air. Like, what's the? Now I'm like, damn, she was ahead of her time. Like, she was like a pioneer.
She was a visionary.
Yeah, because, and then my friend who was Asian, she was like, we had SARS before, so we were prepared. Like, you guys don't know how to handle this. You're handling it bad. And compared to, like, we're like, okay, you're going in your house. Like, you're not coming out. You're going there. So we're like, man, we want the rights to be free and have parties with no mask on. And it's such a different mentality. But yeah, it's just a surreal feeling. This mask, seeing mask, that's the new normal. But
for sure.
What do you?
And in every aspect of life, it's not just, masks on the subway, masks at the hospital. It's masks going into the grocery store. But I don't have to tell you, man. I don't have to tell anybody listening. You know what's going on.
Yeah, they stylish now too, man. It's this dude that has a mask for all his suits.
Dave, how come I was looking at masks with the Art of Doing logo on them today?
I totally would do that.
Why was I doing that?
If you put the little man on the side of it,
right,
with the gold and the red, oh man,
right,
man, that's a fire, man. I might do that behind your back. Like, I might just have
that's my idea now.
That's such a. I just thought about it. You making fun of it. I'm like, damn, I'd like that. I don't want one of those.
I was liking it too, and then I kind of thought about why we're doing this. It's not a fun thing, but like you said, my man has it for every suit. That's stylish, man. Remember at your wedding, on the inside of your jacket, you had that nice, I think it was a purple lining, maybe it was purple paisley, whatever it was sharp. Imagine every suit you had that lining as your mask. Come on, man.
I'm killing them on the streets, man. Oh man. So what's do you think there's a healthy balance for having public events anymore? Or like in your
Well, as with anything, there has to be a healthy balance, I feel. You can't be all serious all the time. You can't be all cautious all the time. And I think everybody's got to find their own healthy balance. That being said, I think the healthy balance is stay your ass at home. You know, don't don't go to public events. I told you earlier, I'm pretty conservative on this COVID thing. I've got as you know, I've got a young child, and my wife is working in an ICU dealing with COVID patients constantly. So I get to hear a side that a lot of people thankfully don't get to see. Hopefully, if their family is healthy, and I'm not a fan of any sort of social gathering, breathing any sort of air that's not at least 6 feet, and the outside air, and hopefully a mask. I might be going a little above board, but
nope, that's exactly why I had you here. This is exactly why I had you, because do you think it does us an injustice that we can't see behind the curtain sometimes?
Absolutely. I have to remind people that this 6-foot thing and this mask thing, this is not to protect you from catching COVID. This is to slow down the masses from catching COVID. You see, like the 6 foot isn't the guarantee. Oh, I stayed 6 feet, I'm not going to catch it. No, the 6 feet is maybe only 10% will catch it at 6 feet versus the 100% when we were squished all together. That's not a good enough odds for my taste. I'm not a gambler. You know me. I'll go to Vegas and have dinner and see a show. I'm not trying to lose my money. 10% is that's not a good number for me.
Yeah, but back to you saying, I do think too that it kind of takes away from the impact. If you can't see it, out of sight, out of mind. So
I think that I heard a good quote pretty recently, tying back to racism, and it said, "COVID is just like racism. If it's not happening to you, it's really hard to imagine." And if you don't have the COVID or have a loved one that's suffering from it, that, like you said, that might be out of sight, out of mind. You hear about it, you know. There's not too many people. There's not too many people I talk with that are gonna deny racism.
Yeah.
But you know, that's a different thing to understand it or have felt it. And there's a lot of people out there that, you know, 150,000+ people dying from COVID, but not too many people have actually lost some. I'm stumbling over my words, but I don't know anybody who's lost a family member from COVID, right? So without seeing that pain or having to deal with an older relative in the hospital, I might not be able to fully understand the difficulties there. That being said, I see the numbers, and I'm not trying to be 151,000.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. Some places like are just having masks as part of the daily requirements and things like that. So that's kind of wild. But what you're gonna do? You can just control what you can control.
That's it.
And to your point, yeah, just try to take it as serious as possible, because, like you said, like you put it in a very good way. If it's not for you, it's for the people outside of you, which brought us to me and my other friends talking about taking if there's a actual cure, taking the actual cure for it, and would you take it, or would you be first in line, or would you kind of like wait it out? And I kind of want to know what you feel about it. Would you just like, you know, all right, I'm taking it?
Well, you know me, I'm gonna study up and read as much as I can about whatever vaccine they come up with. I'm already kind of following 3 or 4 of the front runners and how they work and the efficacy of the testing. the trials. Here's the thing about a new vaccine, and even more about COVID itself, is that big pocket of unknown where you know what it's doing right now. You know what happens when you catch COVID. X amount of people, this percentage is going to have this type of reaction. This percentage is going to die. This percentage is going to have long-term effects in heart, lung, whatever. Same with the vaccine. This percentage of people are going to react well to it, et cetera, et cetera. The scary thing about the vaccine, and to a way bigger extent for me, COVID, is we don't know what's going to happen in the future with this. What happens, and I'm not saying I'm against vaccines. Please, I am not an anti-vaxxer. I'm all about the vaccine. However, we don't know what happens with this vaccine for quite a while. And even worse, like I was trying to get to with the COVID, this is a virus that who knows what type of long-lasting effects it's going to have. Look at chickenpox. Man, you get chickenpox and you're itchy as hell and you get these little bumps and whatever. Nobody, when chickenpox was coming out, was thinking, oh, wait till you turn 50 and you get shingles and you're in crazy pain. That's a virus that stays in your body forever. You could still get the vaccine for chickenpox. It doesn't stop you from getting shingles. What if COVID is like that? What if 20 years from now your arm goes numb? I don't know. Look at cold sores. That joker doesn't go away. That stays in your body forever. Who knows? Are they really going to be able to cure it, or if it's going to stick around and crop up 10, 20, 50 years later with some crazy other side symptom? I'm all set.
Speaking on that, like, because you just jogged my memory, you bring up a good point with people just thinking like, oh, I got COVID, I was over it. It's actually something that's in your body that they haven't figured out if it could just lay dormant and then present itself later down the road as something else. And I was introduced to that probably like 4 or 5 months ago when the outbreak just started, when we just was wrapping up or trying to get out of the building. And the guy from the mailroom was like, hey, look, you're not scared, or you don't feel scared about this COVID stuff? I'm like, why? And he was like, you had Lyme disease. I'm like, okay. He said, I had Lyme disease too. You're more prone to get it because of the Lyme disease. It does something, it lays dormant and it can flare up with the COVID and it compromises your immune. I'm like, what the hell, Lyme disease? But it was something I didn't think about. And that's something I didn't really know about until somebody else told me that his whole family has it and it stays in you forever. They right. Give you what they quote unquote is a cure, but it doesn't take it out your body. It just kind of like makes it dormant a little bit.
Right.
So flare back up. I thought I was straight. I thought it was like an MCL. Like, I'm back, put me back in the game, coach. It's right. I'm ready to go. I didn't know it stays with you. It's like your butt forever.
These viruses do some funky things, man. There's all sorts of viruses. That the HIV will stay with you forever too. And you can get that cure, but best believe it's still in you.
Not that magic cure though.
Well, I don't have enough money to get the magic cure.
Magic cure get you back on your feet.
Better than before.
Hell yeah. Going to all-star games, all types of stuff. Yeah, it's a lot of wild stuff, man. It's wild times, man. Wild times. You kind of paused before when you was like, I think that anybody around me would kind of declare or say if they were racist or not. And you kind of paused and thought about it.
Yeah. That's because I was about to say nobody's going to deny that racism exists, but there's a whole segment of population that's going to deny all sorts of things that obviously exist. So it's kind of like not saying, never say never.
Yeah, gotcha.
There's people that deny the Holocaust. There's people that deny that masks are helpful against COVID. There's that deny that COVID's a real thing. So, man, I get tired.
Game up, man.
Right. If you out there knowing that prejudice and racism exists, I'm sure I know some of them, but I don't have time to get into that. with them. I'll talk with you about just about anything. But
I was gonna say, Dan, that kind of messes up my next story, but you know, I'm still gonna go. I'm going ahead with it. I had a friend on Facebook, and he posted something. Usually, I don't get involved. I'm not really big on Facebook. I'm not that type of guy. So I saw the conversation he posted.